Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Nadi Digital Economy Malaysia. We're going to get right into the 4 or 5 articles we're going to comment on this week. We're going to start with an interesting story. And by the way, I'm doing this show together with my colleague Dzof Azmi, who's there on camera with me. So we're going to start with one of the largest brick and mortar companies in Malaysia, which has the most ambitious digital plans, which is AirAsia, with their subsidiary AirAsia Digital. What they did this week was something very interesting. They have actually taken a stake in a food delivery company based out of Penang, run by a husband and wife couple called DeliverEat. Okay, the word deliver and eat. This company has been operating since 2012, actually the same year DNA started, yeah, coincidentally. And what AirAsia has done is that my sources tell me that it is almost like a 99% share deal. So it's almost an all share deal with a tiny percent of cash. And they have now all valued this company at US 9.8 million, which is 40 million ringgit. And in return, because of them offering this company their shares for that kind of valuation, Teleport, which actually, so the company that is acquiring them is Teleport. Teleport is one of the companies under AirAsia Digital portfolio. So as a result of that, Teleport is now valued at $300 million US. So what Tony Fernandez has done is very smart, right? He is valuing his own digital portfolio by acquiring other companies and agreeing with those small companies, right, for how much his shares should be worth, right, when he invests in them. And we already spoke about this before also when they kind of did the same thing in Thailand with Gojek, right, out of Indonesia. Now they're doing it with a local company. And apparently Tony, and many people don't know this, Tony has been going around talking to other digital companies in Malaysia, trying to cut the same deal with them, because everybody knows that AirAsia doesn't have the cash, right, to do a cash outlay, because their bread and butter business, the airline business, has just been totally gutted, right? They're probably only flying at 3 or 5% of their normal, load, not capacity, but load. So it's a very brutal environment out there. He's trying to make the best of the situation, becoming very innovative by doing this. And I think I brought it up before. I don't know whether there's an unethical element to what he's doing here. There's no law to say you cannot do that, right? But when you want to talk about fair play and valuing people, because always startups are valued by somebody putting money into you. And by the way, you can look at another major brick and mortar company in Malaysia that is doing this, not doing this, but that is playing in the digital space, startup space, is Axiata Group, right? Through their Axiata Digital. So they are, but the way they are doing it is that they wait to get an investment from an external party before they say that we have raised so much of money and our valuation is in this ballpark figure. So they don't have a unicorn yet, right, in US dollar terms, but Tony now has got a unicorn in ringgit terms through in his AirAsia Digital by the Gojek deal. Now suddenly you've got a Teleport having a valuation of 300 million, which is like 1.2, almost 1.3 billion ringgit. So kind of interesting play here. You can say that he's being creative, he's being innovative, or you can say that this is a very cheeky method, right? And I use the word unethical. I don't know if that's the right word to apply here, to value your own digital companies. So Dzof?
I mean, I'm not going to talk about the ethics. I thought it's quite reasonable. It's sort of a willing buyer, willing seller.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's sort of like
a VC. Sorry, a VC told me the same thing. Karamjit, it is a willing buyer, willing seller. So maybe you don't want to make too much out of it in terms of it being fair or unethical. So fair comment. Even you are saying that now.
Yeah, I mean, when it's a US dollar, not a US dollar, right? When it's a share and the price may change down the line, as it were. I think my question mark is the fact that DeliverEat has been valued at 9.8 million US dollars, which DeliverEat obviously is a company that's got a presence in Penang and in Klang Valley. They have 4,000 merchants, 1,000 of which, as you pointed out, are hawker stalls in Penang, right? And they have 4,000 what they call delivery partners, which I assume are their riders.
Yep, freelance riders.
So how did you get to this 10 million US dollar, right?
No,
is it per rider? Is it per? I mean, You see what I'm saying? So you're effectively you're paying $2,500 US dollars per rider or something, which
per
then
merchant. Yeah?
per merchant raises all sorts of question marks.
No, but
Clearly AirAsia wants to move fast. This is why they put the deal in this way. And you're right, they're not cash rich at the moment, so they have to offer shares in exchange.
No, but having share, but I'm saying the amount, right, 9.8 million US dollars for them is simply so that then he can say that now my teleport has reached 300 million US dollar valuation. I think that's why the valuation given to DeliverEat is very, very generous, because they've also made another acquisition, a partial stake in a Penang-based logistics, a marketplace company called Easy Parcel, right? And the valuation is way less, and Easy Parcel is doing much more revenue than a DeliverEat. So I think this is just a valuation play, lah. But so be it. It is what it is. Let's just move on to the next story, which is very interesting, which is MDEC CEO Surina Shukri has tendered her resignation, and she will be leaving on the 31st of August. And this finally puts paid to a lot of rumors from many months ago about her apparently supposed to be leaving in X month, and then X month. The rumors have been continually dogging her and the ecosystem also. And like I said before, it's hard for her senior leadership team to just run and do what they're supposed to do, without this background noise, which can be distracting and which can be a bit demotivating also. So when I wrote that commentary from 3 weeks ago, it was really for the board to say, come on and clear the air. And clear the air could have been that, these rumors are not true, they're out there, but we are firmly behind the CEO, and the tenure is still, mid of January next year, we're going to support her all the way we can. But this has been the outcome now. And the new CEO will be coming in, I think, September 1st, right? And this puts paid to all that. There are a lot of backstories and all that. And some people said that Surina did not distinguish herself during her almost 3 years there, because she came in January of 2019. And her, this role requires a seasoned leader with leadership experience. And also, one key criteria that everyone is saying, the key players I've spoken to, let's say not everyone, right? I'm exaggerating here. Sorry, I'm a journalist, right? Is that you need the person who becomes MDEC CEO must have a strong ecosystem footprint and credibility. Because if you are somebody like Surina who comes from outside, it takes you many months to build that credibility, and it's time lost, because people are already feeling that we are behind, right? As a digital economy, we need to run. The next CEO comes in, he or she has to just run, and move things forward very fast. So we cannot have an outsider coming in. And from indications, it is not an outsider, it is somebody from the ecosystem. So that's good. Whether he or she can meet the high expectations, I don't know, we'll see. But so that is the case with Surina. Dzof, do you have any thoughts there before we move on to the third story?
Just to say that the press release said that she is moving on to focus on interests close to her heart, without actually saying specifically what is close to her heart.
So it is just it is a win-win. You're giving her a graceful and a dignified exit.
Yes. The other thing, Karam, I'm just curious. I just thought about this, what your thoughts are. Usually when there's a change of CEO, and then they bring a new management team in. As you know, what MDEC has been going through is that they've been clearing their top management, and then a new CEO is going to come in. So do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, no. I think that is not true, Dzof. When Arif Noon was the first CEO, no, he was the second. Osman Yop was the first CEO.
Yes, Osman
was Arif Noon. And then it was Badli Sham. So the first, corporate CEO coming in was Badli Sham. Badli Sham came over and took over a team. He only replaced people when their 2-year or 3-year contracts ended. He didn't say, I want your resignation, I'm going to replace you. And Yasmin did the same thing. When the existing 3-year tenure or 2 years tenure of the senior leadership was over, then they made the replacement. And you're right that this person will have a new team, but so be it. These are all very experienced, seasoned people. So I don't think he or she should have any complaints. The only position that is open is actually the COO position. So if this new guy comes in, he wants a trusted lieutenant to execute, because normally the COO is the one that does the hands-on, very much hands-on, right? That's why you're the chief operating officer. So the new CEO will have that role that he or she can fulfill. So I don't think it's all bad, and this is not a negative, I believe. And by the way, some of the current senior leadership team also will have their tenures. At least one person will have their tenure expiring early next year, so you can still replace and bring your own person. So that's what I would say about that. I don't think we should make too much that the person coming in and your leadership team is set. They're all top people they're brought in, so you're able to run and move very fast. So do you want to, shall we move on to the next stories of?
Yeah, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is a story about an insurance company called Vsure Life. On one hand, what's interesting about Vsure Life is that they say they are the first company to get an approval from Bank Negara to sell on-demand insurance. And what is on-demand insurance? On-demand insurance is this idea that I need insurance for a specific event at a specific date and specific time, and I can go online and then outline this is what I need, and they'll quote you a price specially customized for you. I just looked at it, and their on-demand insurance feature is still coming soon. But what I thought was perhaps a bit more interesting is the story under the story, because Vsure have just recently, Revenue Group Berhad has just invested 12 million ringgit into Vsure and taking 25% ownership. And why that's interesting is because Revenue Group is one of the companies that is submitting an application for a digital bank license, together with, of all people, the Sarawak state government is one of their partners. And I think what we're beginning to see here is that we're seeing a lot of people sort of repositioning themselves, realigning themselves, trying to get all their ducks lined up in the row, as it were, right? For whenever it is that Bank Negara is going to make the announcement of who has gotten their digital bank licenses. And they're doing it in such a way, I think what's positive, that even if they don't get that digital bank license, it doesn't matter. They will still have a space to play in. And I think this is good actually for the ecosystem in Malaysia. I mean, what do you think, Karam?
Yeah, no, totally. So the backstory maybe is that all the parties that have submitted are strengthening their claims, right? So they're like, if somebody submit, then they've got 2 or 3 partners, and like you said, it's good for the ecosystem, because you're as Bank Negara is looking at all the submissions and trying to decide who can best deliver value to the marketplace. Of course, this being Malaysia also, there's the back concern that who has got the strongest cables to say Bank Negara say you got to give that. So if you're talking about cables, right, Sarawak state government is fantastic, right? They've got 18 member of parliaments, MPs that are, actually there are more, but 18 are with the ruling party of the state government. And really it's the state government that has decided who becomes the next prime minister, even during Mohidin's time, right? It was their support that put him over the edge and put him over the finishing line. And now again that has happened. So, and also, but beyond that, it's good to have a party from East Malaysia, right, to have a digital banking license, because much more of the unbanked and the underbanked are in Sabah and Sarawak. So on merit, I would think they have a strong case, but with the political card, even a stronger case. So I would go so far as to say that, this submission, right, has got an edge, over everyone else, I would say, just based on that. But coming back to this insure one, it's a good story, because they are offering an innovative way, right? They're offering insurance to the market.
Yeah,
micro insurance, and I think that's good.
They're partnered at the moment. They're partnered with a lot of other companies like Alliance, for example. And but the thing is, I went in and I pretended to book travel insurance. I mean, who's doing traveling these days, really? But it was really quite straightforward and quite painless. And I probably could do it in 60 seconds.
Fantastic.
And I think that's another thing, sort of like showing this is what's possible. And we know this kind of thing is possible in theory. It's good to see that companies doing it.
Yep.
Moving on to the next story, Karam.
Yeah, it's a nice segue. It's a nice segment because you talk about nobody's doing traveling, right? So here, you have a company that, and I wrote this story. So the trigger for this story was a press release they sent out that they partnered with the Tourism Selangor, which is the main, state government tourism, body to promote tourism in Selangor. And the press release just said that they are going to be building the app for the Selangor state government. And, I think it's called GoGo Selango. And then I called the founder because I know Rickson Goh. And then he explained then I realized the backstory to this also, right? So look, everyone is facing the pandemic together, but literally the travel industry has just grinded to a stop, right? Especially in Asia. Of course, in Europe and the US, it has revived now. In the UK, but in Malaysia, in Asia, it has not. So as a founder, as an entrepreneur, all entrepreneurs now are forced to be even better than what they have been, because you're trying to survive, right? Find the hook. So here you have Rickson Goh, that he started attending webinars because everything had moved grinded to a stop. Started attending webinars, trying to be inspired by other entrepreneurs. And then he also realized that the government has introduced all these packages, right? Whether you call it rescue or support packages to help businesses revive. And among them was this package to try to help digitize brick and mortar companies. So here is Rickson saying, hey, I'm already a digital company. I know how to digitize. I can help brick and mortar companies in the travel ecosystem value chain to digitize. So he managed to convince the government to appoint him as a technology service provider. You have to get this TSP accreditation so that then you can go and help companies digitize, and the government then will give you a maximum of 5,000 ringgit per company. So he's convinced them that in the travel space, he can help them do that. The government said, okay. So he's going out now and trying to get travel companies to go digital. 5,000 ringgit the company, right? He says that his revenue this year will hit 7 million ringgit, and almost all of it will come from helping brick and mortar companies to go digital. So that's amazing, right? So, but he started doing this since last year. And then he also pivoted away from, he was doing inbound travel. Inbound means that you target tourists from overseas to come to Malaysia. He said inbound is dead for the next 2 years. So he decided to do local tourism, and that's his new play now. And he went to an investor, said, these are the two things I'm doing. And the investor gave him $1 million October last year. So he has rebounded using these two plays, right? And it's an amazing story. And now with travel, with GoGo Selango, same thing. What's more interesting about GoGo Selango is that now that this is the main app for the state government of Selangor. So when any one of you now decides to do something in Selangor and you click through the app to buy a service, it could be a yoga package, it could be a whitewater rafting in Kuala Selangor to go and see the fireflies, right? And whatnot. And he will, if the sale is made through the app, right, he will also get revenue share. And when he gets revenue from that, when he gets revenue from the operator, he will share that 50-50 with the state government. And even more beautiful is that one final point, because the state government has got all the relationship with all these smaller second or third tier travel operators, which Rickson Goh does not know and they don't know him. The state government will encourage all these players to go digital. And when they agree, the state government will connect them to Rickson Goh, to his Tourplus. The company is called Tourplus. He will go in and digitize them. And then he can claim that 5,000 ringgit from the federal government. So he's created many win-win situations. And this is just the flair and the hustle of an entrepreneur trying to make the best of a situation. And I think all entrepreneurs should look towards him for inspiration to say, wow, Rickson Goh did that, let me do that. So instead of feeling sorry for yourself and blaming the pandemic, this is what is done. And I think it's a great story.
I mean, my take on it is that it's interesting. It's always a question of how does government encourage entrepreneurs to move up. So in this case, Selangor state government wanted these entrepreneurs to go digital, and it seems to be this very fine balance that on the one hand, state governments cannot dictate or say you must do it this particular way. And in this particular example, what they have done is they've leveraged the knowledge of an entrepreneur who's been there, done that, and used him to try to onboard, as it were, micro entrepreneurs or small
Yeah,
entrepreneurs.
exactly. It's
I
amazing.
think that's where the value is, that you act as the guy that links up the guys who have the knowledge with the guy that has the appetite.
Totally.
So yeah, it's good. It's a good story.
Yeah, good. So look, with that, we've hit our 20-minute mark, and we try to always keep it below 18 minutes, but that seems difficult for us. Although we've got another story, we're going to hold it for next week because that's still something worth talking about, I guess. So we thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you next week.